So after the first Trolls made a ton of money, DreamWorks was like, well, let's put out a sequel. So now we have Trolls World Tour. From the premise and the trailers and from the backstory with the first one, I wasn't really looking forward to this film, but I saw it, and now that it's out, let's talk about it.
All music. Let's sing them the most important songs in the history of music.
This ought to be good.
So Trolls World Tour, is it as bad as I was expecting it to be? Pretty much. Now, there's some good things in this film. Overall, as an experience, I say this is a very watchable film. I feel like kids will enjoy this film at a more entertainment level because it's super upbeat, super colorful. There's tons of pop songs, which we'll get into. And it's very, very moving, and something's always happening. So I feel like kids will enjoy it in that level. But let's talk about what works before we get to the nitty-gritty. First of all, the animation and voice talent, great. DreamWorks always does great with their animation. It's very colorful, very vibrant, very great in the cover songs sequences. The animation does very great. The voice acting talent here is also really good. They seem like they're having a great time with this film. This film is very fast-paced. There's never really a dull moment. It's always moving, and at times it really does feel like an acid drug trip at the same time. If you watch this film with drunk or something, I feel like it would be the same experience as watching the film sober, because this film is so ridiculously insane and wild at so many points of this film, of just how insane and just upbeat and the energy is always at a skyrocketed high level that it's really sometimes very I don't really know. It's just there's a lot of energy that goes in to this film, and this film is very easy to watch. If you're trapped at home, which most likely you are, there's a worse thing to watch. There's a worse film to show your kids. There's a worse way to spend an hour and a half. But really, if you like the first film, this film will probably do no damage to you. But there is problems with this film. First of all, this film has really no clear direction or way to be existed. This film pads out this runtime. The first 10 minutes, it gives a bit of exposition to the first Trolls and what happened in that film, just in case you forgot. And then just the next 10 minutes of this film is just different cover songs of different famous songs from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. And it didn't really do much besides build and put up and kind of explore this massive catalog to eventually release an album in stores. It just kind of felt like a marketing reason. And the songs in this film, after a really long time, got it extremely grating. And I don't have any problem with songs in films, but songs in movies or musicals are supposed to either progress a story or kind of just add a character, or kind of express a character emotion, doing it in a much more unique way. But this film pads this film's runtime to a point where at the end, where it's all very dramatic all of a sudden, you kind of just felt like, ooh, this doesn't really fit and this doesn't really work at this right moment. And you just kind of is sitting there kind of crossing your arms and being like, this doesn't really work. Let's talk about Poppy in this film. She's a really horrible character. I'm not gonna lie. In the first film, she was fine. She was harmless. She was fine. She was just a character that kids can probably enjoy and laugh at or laugh with. Okay. But in this film, she cannot make one right decision. She's trying to make herself, and she's trying to present herself as a great queen through whole the film. And then at the end, eventually, you have the big message, which if you've not seen this film, I won't spoil it. And then that's how this film's supposed to go. Okay. But she cannot make one correct decision. She kind of just ignores everyone in her life, and she's so annoying and so grating in this film that at the end she kind of has this big triumphant moment, and you're supposed to be like, oh, she's earned this. But just looking back in the film, she's been a jerk to everyone. She got everyone captured and endangered, and she's made no right good decisions. And it just makes you not really care that much about this character, because I didn't really care so much about the Poppy character anyway. But if let's say you did, let's say you were very invested in this character, this film will do nothing for you. Her and Branch have a bit of chemistry and a bit of relationship, throughout the film, and then they just have this big argument for no reason. It just kind of feels like it comes out of nowhere, because this film clearly has no direction of where it wants to go, and clearly has no direct motive or goal or persistency besides just having tons of pop and cover songs. This film's villain and plot is also very contrived. The villain is just stereotypical kids villain. This film is super predictable as well. You're not going to get anything original or different in this film. I'm just going to say that. If you want a film that's a kids animated film that's going to kind of challenge the mind and kind of be outside the box, you're not going to get that. This film is very deep in the box with a lot of the plot progressing. It's a road trip film trying to get these magical strings, and the villain wants the magical strings, the music strings, to bring the world to have the world just all have rock, which is I know a lot of people have made this criticism. It's a very big Thanos ripoff, and I know some people say it's an homage, but it's very blatantly obvious, since about a year ago we just got Endgame, and then about 2 years ago we just got Infinity War, so we're still on that ride of, hey, we know Thanos, and it's kind of been a bit of a ripoff. And this film is sometimes so crazy and so chaotic, when eventually it does stop, it's just for a character moment or a drag. Overall, if you want to watch this film and have a good time, I think you'll get it. Put this on for kids, and if you're kind of getting sick of them, just put them in front of the TV for a while, and I think they'll kind of enjoy this. This isn't a horrible film. This is no Doolittle or anything. If you want to show them a film, this is probably the best way. But I was thinking it was going to be very disappointing. But this film was overall a not very clever and not very good film. And I'm going to give Trolls World Tour a C-. Those are my thoughts on the sequel of Trolls. What did you think of this film? If you've seen it, I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you guys like this video, you guys can hit that like button and subscribe for more content like the one you just watched. You guys can also check out my podcast, the Two Piece in Pod podcast I do every other Tuesday with a friend of mine. And you guys can also check out my Instagram at General_Daniel77. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. General out.